My child, pause for a moment and listen carefully to my voice. Stay with me in a quiet place, because what I am about to say is sacred, deeply personal, and meant to settle into your heart without the noise of distraction. I am not speaking to stir fear within you. I am speaking because this moment matters, and if you are hearing these words now, it is not coincidence. I guided your steps here, gently slowing your day so you would stop long enough to hear me. Do not rush past this. Do not brush it aside. Open your heart before these next few moments slip away. I am not measuring you by a countdown. I am inviting you to respond because faithfulness in small moments prepares the way for greater ones. I need your full attention, your quiet focus, and a heart that is willing to listen. Within the next hour, something will begin to unfold in your life. Yes, within 1 hour, someone will bring you an unexpected surprise. You may have no idea who it will be or how it will happen, but it has already been set into motion. This is not coincidence. This is divine arrangement. You have whispered to me in hidden places, asking, "Lord, show me that you are moving," and I have heard every word. So hear me now. The movement has already begun. There is activity beyond what your eyes can see, conversations unfolding that involve your name, decisions being made that will touch your life, and a door that is being prepared to open before you. I asked you to be alone because I want your heart free from every competing voice. When too many opinions surround you, doubt can quietly mingle with faith and blur what I am making clear. This is a moment between you and me, a private promise before it becomes a testimony that others will one day see. You have longed for something unexpected to interrupt the pattern of disappointment. You have waited for a call, a message, a word, a sign that would gently turn your path in a new direction. I tell you now that this hour has been marked with purpose. While it seemed as though nothing was changing, I was quietly putting every piece into place. I was stirring someone's heart, arranging circumstances, and guiding the timing with care. The delay you experienced was never neglect. It was preparation. Certain things needed to shift, conversations needed to happen, and hearts needed to soften before the moment could arrive. Obstacles had to be moved aside, and while you were waiting, I was working. While you counted silent days, my hands were still at work where you could not yet see. You may feel uncertain as you hear this, wondering whether your mind is imagining it. But I am speaking to you with clarity. Within the next hour, there will be a sign. It may come through a message, through another person, or through unexpected news. When it arrives, you will remember this very moment. Stay attentive. Do not allow doubt to bury this promise. The enemy will whisper that nothing is changing and tell you this is only emotion, but I am not a God who speaks empty words. When I declare that something is moving, the movement begins. Even now, as you read, angels are carrying out the assignments I have given them. My protection surrounds you, and the timing I have prepared is being carefully guarded. I never speak without purpose, and I never release a promise without my hand already at work behind it. The atmosphere around you is already changing. You may notice a peace that was not there before, or a quiet expectation rising within your heart. That is not random. It is your spirit becoming aware of what is already unfolding. Open your heart completely. Welcome hope instead of resisting it, because hope is not foolish. It is faith reaching forward to receive what I have prepared. This surprise will bring neither harm nor shame, and it will leave you with clarity rather than confusion. It will remind you that I have been listening all along, and that I have remained close, even when you wondered. Stay alone with me for this moment, because closeness steepens faith. In stillness you hear my whisper more clearly, and in quietness you become aware of my presence. Within 1 hour you will notice something begin to change. It may seem small at first, but it will carry meaning. It will feel intentional. It will not feel random. Trust me now, and do not surrender to doubt in these final moments. Remain ready. Stay watchful. Keep believing. This hour has been appointed, and the surprise has already been prepared. I smile because you are about to see that I have never stopped moving in your life. Come a little closer, my child, and listen with your whole heart. This moment is both private and sacred. That is why I asked you to be alone, not to fill you with fear or separate you from others, but because what I am speaking requires stillness, an undistracted heart, and a spirit that is open to my voice. When you are alone, you hear me differently. As the noise around you fades, my whisper becomes easier to recognize. You live in a world filled with constant voices, endless opinions, demands, and distractions. And even when no one else is near, your thoughts can still be crowded. That is why I am inviting you into a deeper quietness. This is about more than physical solitude. It is about making room within your heart so I can speak to the deepest places of your life without interruption. Some words are only received in silence, and some promises find their home only in a heart that has become soft enough to receive them. If distraction surrounded you now, you might dismiss this moment too quickly. You might laugh it away or allow doubt to speak before faith has a chance to listen. Yet when you are alone with me, your spirit recognizes that something sacred is taking place. You sense that this is different. I do not interrupt your day without purpose, and I do not step into your routine without reason. This is a divine interruption. What looked like an ordinary day became the moment I chose to meet you. I stepped into your schedule, touched the timeline of your day, and gently slowed your pace because I wanted your attention. These interruptions are gifts. They are never accidents or delays meant to frustrate you. They are moments when heaven draws near, when I speak before something begins to shift, and when I prepare your heart before circumstances begin to change. You may wonder why this moment feels heavier than the ones before it, why your heart has become more aware, or why your thoughts have grown quieter. It is because heaven has appointed this very moment. Angels move at my command, and every part of my timing unfolds according to my will. I do not allow sacred moments to happen without purpose. Before this day ever began, I already knew this moment would come. Before this hour arrived, I had set it apart. I knew where you would be, what thoughts would fill your mind, and what burdens your heart would quietly carry. Then I said, "This is the moment I will speak." That is how personally I care for you. You are far more than one face among countless others. I know you completely, and I have never lost sight of your name. Your life has never been a collection of random moments. It is a story I have been unfolding with care, and even this page, this very second, has purpose woven into it. That is why I ask you to treasure this moment. When you are alone, you no longer have to perform, pretend, or hide behind the strength you show everyone else. You can come before me just as you are, and in that honesty I meet the real you. I speak to the heart you carry in secret, because spiritual sensitivity grows where quietness is welcomed. When your soul is crowded with noise, my voice seems distant. Yet when you slow your pace, you begin to recognize that I have been speaking all along. I do not raise my voice to compete with the noise around you. I speak gently to those who choose to draw near. This moment is not about fearing that you might miss something. It is about becoming ready for what I am already doing within you. Even now your spirit is being prepared, and quiet alignment is taking place beneath the surface. Heaven does not rush what is sacred. Every encounter is shaped with intention, and this very moment belongs within a greater work that you cannot fully see. You cannot see the entire picture, but I can. You cannot follow every thread, yet I am carefully weaving them together. You almost continued scrolling. You almost passed this by. But something caused you to pause, and that pause was not random. I was the one who gently drew your attention. It was like heaven placing a hand upon your shoulder and whispering, "Stay with me. I want your heart fully present, because what I am preparing in your life calls for faith, and faith grows strongest in quiet places where my voice is heard without competing echoes. This moment is sacred because it touches your future, your trust, and your willingness to follow me. I do not reveal these things carelessly. I reveal them in stillness. Others may look at this and see nothing unusual, but your spirit recognizes that something deeper is taking place. There is a weight here that logic alone cannot explain. Heaven appointed this exact moment, not sooner, not later. Timing matters. Had this message reached you a month ago, your heart may have received it differently. Had it come next week, other distractions might have filled your attention. But today, your heart is ready to listen. I never waste a moment, and I never waste your time. When I invite you to be alone, it is because intimacy brings clarity, and clarity prepares you for what comes next. If this message has encouraged you, you can support this work through the support link or QR code provided in the description. For now, remain here in the quiet. Let your thoughts become still, and allow your breathing to slow. Feel the sacredness of this interruption. I am closer than you realize. speaking more gently than the noise of the world, yet with greater authority than anything competing for your attention. This moment is private because it belongs to you and me. It is sacred because heaven prepared it, and it is intentional because I chose it. As you sit quietly before me, remember this: although you are alone, you are never by yourself. I am here. Listen carefully now, my child. The hour of surprise is no distant hope. It is near. Within 1 hour, something will begin to move. You may not see it forming yet, and you may not hear the first sound of it, but I tell you with certainty that the shift has already begun. Time is not drifting without purpose. It is moving toward the moment I have already prepared. This is not coincidence. It is not random chance. It is not luck. It is divine arrangement. You have lived through enough disappointment that your heart has learned to expect delay before delight. Yet this hour carries something different. It carries intention. Within 1 hour, something unexpected will begin to unfold. It may arrive quietly or appear suddenly. It may seem small at first, but your spirit will recognize the weight of its timing and know that it was never accidental. Understand this: while you were waiting, I was working. I had been stirring another heart, gently shaping another person's thoughts, even when they did not fully understand why they felt prompted to respond. I know why, because I placed that prompting within them. Where you see distance, I see connection. Where you see separation, I see alignment. The person I have prepared to bless you may not yet realize they are becoming part of the answer you have been praying for, but I have been guiding every step, every conversation, and every circumstance toward this moment. Within 1 hour, something will move, because the preparation has reached its appointed time. There is a difference between simply wishing for something and being ready to receive it. This hour is ready. Nothing about this movement is forced. It has ripened in its proper time. You may feel excitement mixed with uncertainty. Part of your heart wants to believe, while another part remembers past disappointments. I know that struggle because I have watched you hope before and carry the weight of unanswered expectations. But this is not built upon empty promises. It rests upon my careful orchestration. The surprise may come from a place you never expected. It may arrive in a way you never imagined. Yet when it comes, it will bring confirmation, reassurance, and a quiet reminder that I have never been distant from your everyday life. Someone may offer you words, an opportunity, practical help, or an unexpected act of kindness. When it happens, you will remember this moment because the timing will be too precise to dismiss. I have been preparing both sides in silence. While patience was growing in you, compassion was growing in another heart. While trust was taking root within you, courage was being formed within someone else. While you wondered whether I had heard your prayers, I was preparing someone to become part of the answer. There is a reason anticipation is rising within you. You sense it quietly, like something beginning to awaken beneath the surface. That feeling is not imagination. It is an awareness that movement has already begun. Do not allow fear to persuade you to stop expecting. Fear will insist that nothing is going to happen. Fear will tell you that this is only emotion, but faith whispers gently, "Watch." I am asking you to watch with a heart that is calm and quietly confident. Within the next hour, your day will no longer feel exactly as it does now. Something will begin to shift, and even if it first appears small, it will carry a weight your spirit will recognize. The greatest movements often begin quietly, long before they become visible to human eyes. I am not speaking about fantasy or empty expectation. I am speaking about my timing. I have never forgotten the prayers you offered, or the tears you cried when no one else could see them. Every whispered prayer reached me, and every silent tear was seen before it ever touched the ground. This hour is not random. It belongs to a greater design that I have been weaving together long before you recognized it, long before you wondered whether anything was changing. I was already setting events into motion beyond your awareness. The person I have prepared may have wrestled with hesitation or struggled with doubt, yet I have continued to gently lead them forward. I have been arranging circumstances that draw them closer to the place where your paths will meet. What I arrange often appears ordinary on the surface, but beneath what you can see, every detail is held together with purpose and precision. What looks like an ordinary day to you can quietly become the meeting place of my perfect timing. So remain attentive without becoming anxious. Stay aware without letting fear take hold. Keep your heart open and your spirit steady. peace will help you recognize my work more clearly than panic ever could. This surprise is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to reassure you. You have known what it feels like to be overlooked. You have wondered if you had been forgotten. Yet this hour will remind you that I have always seen you, I have always remembered you, and I continue to move within the details of your life. Nothing about your journey has escaped my attention, even during the seasons when my work remained hidden from your sight. Anticipation rooted in me is never empty. I am not awakening hope only to disappoint you. My promises are never spoken without purpose, and my timing is never careless. I speak before events unfold so that when they arrive, your faith will be strengthened by what you have witnessed. Within 1 hour, something unexpected will begin to move. It may come as a message, a knock at the door, a phone call, or a conversation that suddenly turns in a new direction. Whatever form it takes, it will carry meaning beyond the moment itself. It will quietly remind you that I have been present in your ordinary days all along. The surprise is about more than what you receive. It is also about what you come to understand. You will discover that I have been closer to your everyday life than you realized. You will see that heaven is not distant from your ordinary moments, but present even within the smallest details surrounding you. What once seemed like coincidence will begin to reveal the fingerprints of my care. Let expectation grow gently. Do not force it or overthink it. Simply remain ready, because I am not asking you to create the movement. I am telling you that the movement has already begun. Your role is not to strive, but to remain open to what I am already accomplishing. Within the next hour, something will confirm that this was never coincidence. It will feel purposeful, carefully aligned, and your heart will recognize its significance even before your mind fully understands it. Trust me during this hour. Remain peaceful, stay attentive. Keep your heart open, because what I have prepared is already making its way toward you. My child, where you saw silence, I saw quiet movement. Where you saw delay, I saw a design unfolding exactly as it should. What appeared to be empty waiting was actually a season of careful preparation. While you wondered whether anything was changing, unseen pieces were quietly falling into place. I was working behind the scenes in ways your eyes could never follow and in places your thoughts could never reach. There were countless details unfolding beyond your understanding, each one moving according to my wisdom rather than your timetable. When you believed the answer had been delayed, I was adjusting the timing. When you felt unseen, I was preparing hearts. When you thought an opportunity had passed you by, I was protecting you from stepping into something before it was ready. Some closed doors were acts of mercy, not rejection. You measured progress by what you could see. I measured it by readiness, because true readiness is often formed where no one else is looking. If He has carried you through every step of this journey, comment, "Father, you carried me all the way." The delay was never wasted. It was alignment bringing together people, decisions, and circumstances at the right time. Every season that seemed slow was quietly strengthening the foundation beneath what I intended to build. Had I moved too quickly, the encounter would have lacked the depth it needed. Had I opened the door too soon, the foundation would not have been strong enough to support what was ahead. I do not rush the moments I prepare. I establish them with care, because what is built patiently can endure what is built suddenly. There were conversations taking place that you never heard, and thoughts growing within someone's heart that you never knew about. Situations that appeared unrelated to your life were quietly becoming part of your future. What seemed disconnected from your perspective was already connected in mine. You saw disconnected pieces. I saw the complete design. Hearts were softening little by little. The person who will enter your life during this hour did not suddenly become ready. I have been shaping them through their own journey, stretching them, teaching them, and allowing them to grow through challenges, just as I have been preparing you. Growth was taking place on both sides long before either of you could recognize it. Delays often feel like rejection, but they have been seasons of refinement. Waiting has a way of revealing what hurried moments never could. While you were learning patience, someone else was learning courage. While trust was growing within you, another person was overcoming hesitation. I was bringing both paths into alignment so they would meet at the right moment. Nothing about this has been accidental. Every step has been arranged with care. Even your frustration served a purpose. It strengthened you, clarified your desires, and drew your heart into deeper dependence upon me. What once felt like unnecessary waiting has quietly become part of the blessing itself. Behind the scenes, doors that once seemed firmly shut began to loosen. Minds that had been closed slowly opened. Situations that looked tangled gradually began to unravel. None of this happened with dramatic display. It unfolded quietly and steadily, like roots growing deep beneath the soil long before a plant ever appears above the ground. The deepest work is often invisible until the right season arrives. You believed nothing was happening because you could not yet see visible results. But I do not work only where your eyes can see. I begin at the roots. I strengthen what is hidden before I reveal what is visible. Lasting change is always built from the inside before it is revealed on the outside. That is why much of this preparation remained unseen. Even my angels have been assigned within this work. Yes, my child, I command my angels concerning you. They move when I speak. They guard what remains beyond your sight and arrange what rests beyond your control. While you rested, they continued their work. While you worried, they stood watch. While you questioned, they faithfully carried out the assignments I had given them on your behalf. My care for you has never paused simply because you could not see it. There were moments when circumstances could have turned in another direction, yet I stepped in. I redirected what needed to change. I sheltered you. I guided hearts back toward the path I had prepared. More was being protected than you will ever fully know. The encounter now taking shape has never been the result of chance. It has been carefully protected. Angels have watched over its timing, prevented it from coming too soon, and turned aside distractions that sought to interrupt what I was building. They have quietly prepared pathways that would bring the right connections together. Every unseen act of protection has been part of my loving care over your future. You may never fully know everything that was kept from harming you, but it mattered more than you realize. Many disappointments were actually quiet acts of protection, though they did not feel that way in the moment. Hidden preparation also meant removing opportunities that looked promising, but were never truly aligned with what I had prepared for you. What I withheld was never meant to diminish your life. It was meant to preserve your peace so that, when the right moment arrived, you would be ready to receive what had truly been prepared for you from the very beginning. There were relationships that seemed inviting on the surface but carried burdens you could not yet see. What appeared promising to your eyes often held consequences your heart was not yet prepared to carry. I quietly closed those doors, and although you felt the pain of disappointment, my protection was already at work. You mourned opportunities you thought you had lost, but I was preserving you for something you could not yet understand. When two lives are meant to meet at the right moment, I prepare both sides with equal care. I do not shape only your heart. I prepare the environment, the atmosphere, and every heart that will be part of what I have planned. Divine encounters flourish where harmony has first been established, because what is built in peace is able to endure what is tested later. You were never forgotten during the waiting, even when the days felt ordinary and nothing appeared to change. My hands never stopped working. While I was forming you, I was also shaping the one who would become part of the blessing I had prepared. There were lessons they still needed to learn, growth they still needed to experience, humility they still needed to embrace, and courage they still needed to build. Their journey mattered just as much as yours. Had this meeting happened too soon, it would have lacked the strength it now carries. It would have been rushed and easily shaken, because neither heart would have been fully prepared. Because I did the hidden preparation, it will stand on a stronger foundation, one built to patience rather than haste. Never underestimate the quiet seasons. They are filled with work that cannot yet be seen. The silence you experienced was never empty. It was filled with careful preparation unfolding beneath the surface. I do not announce every step I take. Often I build in silence until what I have prepared is strong enough to stand on its own. Just as roots grow deep before branches ever reach toward the sky, I strengthen what is hidden before revealing what is visible. You may have felt isolated during this season, but even that isolation served a purpose. Too many voices can interrupt what I am shaping, and too much interference can disturb the timing I have carefully arranged. I created space so my preparation could unfold without confusion, allowing your heart to mature without being pulled in competing directions. Now that preparation is nearing its completion, what has long been developing in secret is approaching the moment when it will become visible. The pieces are coming together, the hearts are ready, and the appointed time is drawing near. What you will eventually see is only the visible conclusion of a much longer journey that has been unfolding beyond your sight. Every unseen step has been leading toward this moment with intention. When the encounter arrives, it may seem sudden to you, but it has never been sudden to me. It has been growing quietly, carefully guarded, thoughtfully arranged, and patiently prepared all along. What appears sudden on the surface is often the result of a long season of unseen faithfulness. Trust what has been happening beneath the surface. Trust the delays that once left you confused. Trust the quiet seasons that appeared empty, because they were never empty at all. They were filled with my unseen work. My angels continue to carry out what I have assigned to them, faithfully accomplishing what you cannot yet observe with your natural eyes. The alignment remains steady, and my timing remains precise. Nothing has slipped beyond my attention. When everything unfolds, you will recognize that nothing happened by accident. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Every delay, every closed door, and every unexpected turn found its place within my greater purpose. It was hidden preparation, careful design, and my hand faithfully working behind the scenes from the beginning. My child, open your heart now. Do not wait until you feel more prepared, or until every doubt has disappeared. If you wait until every question has been answered, you will spend your life standing outside doors that were meant to be entered by faith. There is urgency in my voice, not because I am impatient, but because timing matters. Delayed obedience can become a missed opportunity, and I do not want you standing outside a door I intended to open for you, simply because hesitation held you back. There are seasons when waiting is wisdom, but there are also moments when waiting is fear, wearing a different face. This is one of those moments that calls for a response, not because I desire pressure, but because I desire your willing trust. I have brought you to this place through quiet preparation, unseen alignment, and careful direction. Every lesson, every delay, and every unexpected turn has quietly led you here. To hesitate now would interrupt what has already been set into motion. The enemy understands the importance of timing. He knows when you are drawing nearer to breakthrough, and he knows when heaven has prepared something significant. That is why distractions begin to increase. That is why doubt suddenly grows louder. Your mind may begin questioning what your spirit has already recognized. You may even feel tempted to move on, to keep scrolling, or to convince yourself that none of this truly matters. Yet the greatest distractions often appear just before moments that require your fullest attention. That voice is not mine. It is distraction trying to pull you away just before the moment of alignment. Faith always responds. It does not remain passive. It chooses trust even before every answer is visible. When I ask you to open your heart, I am inviting you to come into agreement with what I am already doing. I am calling you to step willingly into the place I have prepared. A miracle is never forced upon anyone. It is received where there is openness. Choosing to open your heart is an act of trust. It is saying, I will not let fear delay me. I choose faith over doubt. If God is speaking, I will answer. That simple response creates room for what I have already been preparing to unfold. The enemy delights in hesitation. He whispers that you can respond later, that there is no urgency, that the moment will still be waiting. He hopes delay will feel reasonable enough that you never recognize what was quietly slipping away. Yet divine moments are not always meant to be postponed. Some doors belong to a specific season, and some moments of alignment ask for a willing response when they arrive. I am not speaking to create anxiety. I am calling you into alertness. There is a difference. Anxiety rushes ahead. Faith responds with quiet confidence. Anxiety panics. Faith obeys with peace. One is driven by fear, while the other is sustained by trust. When you respond to me without unnecessary delay, you step into the flow of what I have already arranged. Think of alignment as two paths meeting at the exact moment they were designed to cross. If one path lingers without reason, the meeting changes. That is why obedience carries urgency. It is not because I am harsh. It is because my timing is sacred. Every event has been woven together with care long before you became aware of it. I have arranged events with care. I have prepared hearts. I have positioned circumstances. Your response now becomes the key that opens the next step before you. What seems like one small act of obedience today may quietly become the doorway to many things I have already prepared ahead of you. You may still feel that you are not completely ready. Small doubts may remain, and questions may still linger in your mind. Yet readiness has never been about perfection. It has always been about willingness. I have never asked you to come to me after you have removed every fear. I simply ask you to trust me enough to take the next faithful step. When you open your heart, you are not proving your strength. You are demonstrating your trust in me. The enemy will often use subtle distractions, a passing thought, an unexpected interruption, or a convenient excuse, hoping you will step away before the work is complete. He wants this moment to appear ordinary, but I tell you with certainty, this is not ordinary. This is one of those quiet moments that will one day help you understand how faithfully I had been leading you all along. There are moments in life that become quiet turning points. At first they rarely appear dramatic. They begin with a simple yes, a gentle decision, or one faithful step forward. Yet those small acts of obedience open the way for greater movement. So often the greatest changes begin where no one else is watching, in the silent places where a heart chooses trust before it ever sees the outcome. Opening your heart now is not about making a dramatic display. It is a deliberate choice to remain present, to say, I believe you, and to stay instead of turning away when it would be easier to ignore my voice. There were other seasons when hesitation held you back, and at times that delay cost you opportunities to grow. Yet even those moments have become part of the wisdom I am building within you, preparing you to recognize my voice more quickly today. I do not remind you of those moments to bring shame upon you. I speak of them because they have taught you something valuable. Every season of waiting, every delayed response, and every lesson you learned has shaped your heart in ways you may not fully recognize yet. You have learned that when I call, your response becomes the doorway to blessing. Faith is strongest when it responds with confidence rather than delay. It is not reckless, but it is willing. It trusts my character even before it understands my plan. When you recognize my voice, answer it. When you sense my gentle prompting, follow it. You do not need every detail explained before you take the next step. Trust that I see the whole picture, even when you see only a small part, because my view reaches far beyond what your eyes can presently understand. When you open your heart to me, movement begins not only within you, but also around you. Alignment grows stronger, protection increases, favor moves forward according to my purpose. What seems like one small act of surrender often becomes the beginning of many unseen changes that quietly unfold at the same time. When you respond in faith, heaven responds in agreement. This is not about fearing that you might miss something. It is about stepping into what has already been prepared for you. I am inviting you to walk willingly with what I have already set in motion. The urgency you hear in my voice is born from love. I do not want you standing at the edge of something beautiful, while doubt persuades you to remain where you are. I desire for you to experience the peace that comes from walking with me, instead of wondering what could have been. I do not want you looking back one day, wondering what might have happened if you had trusted me. You are closer than you realize, which is why distractions feel stronger, and hesitation seems more convincing. Often the greatest resistance appears just before a breakthrough, because uncertainty always tries to speak louder when faith is preparing to rise. Yet I remain here, steady and clear. Open your heart now, not because you are being forced, but because you trust me. Not because you are driven by fear, but because you believe my voice. This moment carries significance, and your response matters. Do not allow the enemy to steal what has already been prepared. Do not let hesitation interrupt the alignment I have been carefully arranging. Do not mistake fear for wisdom. Faith responds when it is called, and faith opens when it is invited. My child, something is beginning to break even now. The first change is not around you. It is within you. Long before circumstances change, I begin healing the places where discouragement quietly settled. The chains of doubt that quietly wrap themselves around your thoughts are beginning to loosen. You carried unbelief for so long that it started to feel familiar. You learned to expect disappointment before blessing, and over time your heart lowered its expectations, simply to avoid being hurt again. You convinced yourself that hoping less would somehow protect you from pain. But I am breaking that pattern. The voice of doubt has spoken loudly to your mind, telling you that nothing would ever change, whispering that my promises belong to others but somehow not to you. Those whispers have never carried authority. My voice does. You have lived beneath the weight of asking, what if nothing ever happens? For far too long, that question has quietly followed you through prayers, through waiting, and through moments when silence felt heavier than answers. That burden has shaped the way you looked at life, lowered your eyes, and quieted your expectation. But now those chains are beginning to fall away. You may notice it first as a gentle lightness within you. You may realize that your thoughts no longer feel as heavy as they once did, and that hope no longer feels as impossible as it once seemed. That is not coincidence. It is the beginning of freedom. Fear has stood outside the door of your mind for many years. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being truly seen, fear of being too truly seen. That promised to protect you, but instead it kept you confined. It taught you to build walls where I was inviting you to trust. It offered the appearance of safety while stealing the freedom I desired for you. I am lifting that burden of anxiety. Sometimes anxiety leaves quietly rather than suddenly, like a storm that slowly gives way to still skies. Even now, the atmosphere within you is changing. Where tension once lived, peace is beginning to settle. Where your thoughts raced without rest, steady breathing and quiet confidence are beginning to return. You do not have to force that peace. Simply remain with me and allow it to grow. You can already sense that something is changing. The heaviness you carried into every room is becoming lighter. The pressure that settled so deeply in your heart is beginning to release. That is because the atmosphere around you is no longer the same. When I speak freedom, everything begins to change. Sometimes the first miracle is not what happens around you, but what happens within you. Chains do not always break with a loud sound. Sometimes they simply lose their hold as truth quietly replaces every lie. Doubt weakens when you remember who I am. Fear loses its grip when you become aware of my presence. Anxiety fades as your heart remembers that I remain in control. Peace grows quietly, one surrendered moment at a time. The enemy built those chains slowly, one disappointment after another, one delay after another, one unanswered question after another. His desire was for disbelief to become your normal way of living. He hoped you would stop expecting my goodness because waiting had become so familiar. But that was never my design for you. I did not create you to live under fear or to retreat from hope. You were created to walk with spiritual authority, to stand upright instead of bowing beneath fear, and to speak words of life instead of repeating defeat. Worry may have dimmed that confidence for a season, but it never took it away. What I placed within you has never been lost. Even now I am restoring it, not through loud displays, but through quiet confidence rising once again within your spirit. You will begin to notice strength returning to your thoughts. You will hear faith returning to your words. You will discover that you are no longer as fragile as you once believed. Little by little your heart will respond differently because it is learning once again to trust my voice above every other voice. The breaking of doubt is more than an emotional change. It is a spiritual one. Doubt tried to convince you that you were powerless, but I have given you strength through trust. Fear tried to persuade you that you were alone, yet I have never left your side. Through every unanswered question, every silent night, and every uncertain season, I remained with you. You do not have to live under fear, because my presence is with you, and my presence has always been greater than the fear that tried to convince you otherwise.